Welcome to the Benning Report. Coming up in this edition, soldiers test new age headgear.
And recon students learn coverage, communication, and cohesion.
Welcome to the Benning Report. I'm Nicole Randall.
And I'm Nate Snook from the Fort Benning Public Affairs Office. Thanks for watching. The Maneuver Self-Study Program is poised to change the way soldiers learn more about their profession.
Today, we take a look at what some users of the program have to say about it.
The Maneuver Self-Study Program is in full swing, and every indication so far points to success.
The self-study program is meant to help maneuver leaders understand how they can study our profession on their own.
The impact is already seen in the classrooms as soldiers are discovering the benefits.
Anything that we can do as leaders to develop subordinate leaders, especially the students in our course, is something that we need to jump on right away.
The MSSP provides additional material related to topics studied in the classroom. It is this material that can allow soldiers to maximize what they take away from a class by enhancing the discussion.
We did this in the Philippines at turn of the century. The Marines did this all the time during the early 1900s onwards in the countries we sent them in. So we're just rediscovering ourselves.
We end up discussing things on the internet and then via LinkedIn, and then we bring those discussions in the classroom.
All of the participants have been very positive about the program. It's accessible, very user-friendly, and their response has been overwhelmingly positive.
When asked about their favorite aspects of the MSSP, these students in the Maneuver Captain's Career Course had this to say.
We read the articles, compare that to some of our own experiences, and then we answer 3 or 4 questions based on each post. And then it's also interesting because we can read down through our peers and see what their thoughts were on the article and what their past experiences were too.
I would say it's nice that there's one access point to go to come across different academic readings, videos, different forms of media.
Soldiers committed to lifelong learning are actually developing their 21st century competencies through their attitudes. It is this development that will benefit the future of the Army.
I think anyone who is interested in our profession, anyone who is interested in making themselves better, more effective as leaders, will find a topic that interests them and be able to dive into it and begin to read and think about our profession in the context of the self-study program.
You're not the lieutenant anymore. You still need to know it, but now you need to know it at a different level.
David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
Recent visitors to Fort Benning will help the maneuver force fight more closely with foreign counterparts. By exchanging instructors and soldiers, Americans will be able to work as a combined arms team with our Canadian neighbors. The Canadian Army's equivalent to the Maneuver Center of Excellence is called the Canadian Combat Training Center. They do some of the same work as our experts here at the MCOE. Their recent visit was to facilitate the continued soldier-instructor exchanges between our two countries.
The similarities between the United States Army and the Canadian Army, there are a lot of similarities and there are a lot of differences as well. The differences primarily are in terms of size, and organization, and construct, but it is important to maintain a close relationship with our most important ally, that being the United States and the United States Army, as we've done for years.
This long-term relationship has since evolved from a diplomatic and overall military standpoint into a more personalized outlook, where individual soldier exchanges are vital to the future.
To maintain that contact at the tactical level, so that things like tactics, techniques, and procedures are well shared and well understood, it is vital to have a contact, because relationships that are made by junior leaders, whether it's NCOs or officers, eventually those NCOs and officers will be at senior levels, and the contacts they will have made will be invaluable.
These exchanges will breed relationships that will root into the heart of both militaries, making the long-term relationship stronger and more grounded in cohesive operations, a trait that is never undervalued in this day at war.
It also allows us to more quickly be able to integrate into a combined arms team. Everything is built on coalitions. Everything's built on sharing of information and sharing of resources to be able to accomplish a collective aim. It's only natural that it would be a U.S.-Canada nexus.
The Canadian Combat Training Center met with offices and training courses around Fort Benning with one thing in mind: constructing an ability and affiliation to be able to exchange officers, NCOs, instructors, and soldiers, and to that end, build an effective and long-term multinational combined arms team. Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
It's the latest in Army gear. It helps save lives and enables communication between soldiers. Melissa Bell takes us out to Cal River's driver's course as Fort Benning soldiers test the latest in new age headgear systems.
New technology was unveiled at Fort Benning as the Maneuver Battle Lab tested a vital piece of a soldier's personal protection equipment, the helmet. But this isn't just any headgear, it's headgear that boasts improved ballistic materials, better face and eye protection, and enhanced communications all in one package. Known as Helmet Electronics and Display System Upgradable Protection. Or more simply, heads up.
Bravo 1, Bravo 2, roger, we're crossing checkpoint 1 time now.
One of the things that soldiers deal with right now, mounted soldiers deal with, is they carry two helmets. They carry their advanced combat helmet and they carry a combat vehicle crewman helmet. So if you're trying to manage two helmet systems, whether you're mounted or dismounted, that can be a challenge. So one of the ideas today was to display that a mounted or dismounted soldier could wear one headgear system and still be able to perform their mission.
The Heads Up program has been a 4-year effort to solve real-world problems with currently fielded headgear systems. This capability was displayed to Army officials as soldiers with actual combat experience tested the equipment at mission speed.
Roger, good copy, dropping ramp.
So what we had today was two dismounted soldier squads with two mounted soldier Bradleys. They conducted an IED event, resistance to contact, followed an insurgent.
Bravo 1, Bravo 2, I have eyes on one man with a shovel. I'll copy, over.
Was able to go in and clear the building while the Bradley provided cover support. What we demonstrated was that both these sets of soldiers, even though their common skills and tasks and their job on the battlefield is different, they could all wear that one helmet system.
This feedback is gathered from soldiers experienced in current conflicts and is crucial as these helmets still face modifications based on soldier recommendations.
M16, A2.
Breathing wise, everything was good, radio connection, being able to hear, squad leaders, team leaders, be able to communicate, everything was fine. No fog, no smearing or anything in that nature, and I feel that everything went smooth.
It'll definitely be useful for the mounted patrols with the mandible and the visor, so you can stand up and if you get an IED blast, the shrapnel will bounce off here, bounce off the visor, and the dust, it'll knock down on the dust, especially if they get like some oxygen system or a little bit more padding around the mandible.
As these soldiers test this equipment, they've been downrange and know what's at stake. Since this heads-up technology aims to save lives.
It sucks to lose guys downrange. It's a horrible feeling, so any way that you can bring all your guys home, it definitely helps out a lot.
Whether it be over the advanced combat helmet or combat vehicle crewman helmet, every soldier in this demonstration prefers this new and advanced headgear system. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
As we continue our series on the impact that our brigades here on Fort Benning make on the Army, we turn now to a versatile brigade that seems to do it all. The 194th Armored Brigade is responsible for advanced individual training, receiving basic trainees, and one-station unit training of cavalry scouts and armor crewmen.
The 194th Armored Brigade is kind of a very unique brigade in the trade lock right now, in that we have 2 battalions of basic combat training and 2 battalions of one-station unit training. Plus, we have the uniqueness of the 91 Alpha Mikes, they're the Bradley and tank mechanics. So instead of taking the tanks to the mechanics, we bring the mechanics to the tank and train them here.
This brigade not only trains soldiers in mechanics, gunnery, and the professionalism of being a soldier, it also builds a community and a continuing generational appreciation.
Loosen these up, keep these bolts out, take your ball peen hammer, stick it inside your tube here, your coolant tube.
We believe that we're transforming recruits and citizens into entering the profession of arms. I think it's one of the special things about the one-station unit training is that all the cadre, the drill sergeants and the instructors, are that MOS. And so they are actually training the people that are going to be following their footsteps or be assigned to them.
Armor crewmen, cavalry scouts, and mechanics are all called upon to use their bodies to get their job done. So incorporating the Warrior Athletic Training Teams, which teach and keep a soldier's body ready, the 194th focuses on the technical training of the soldier and the physical and mental stress that training can cause.
We realized the physical performance that we were having to do and the amount of the weight they're carrying. We're really looking at for the performance of our soldiers, and we're enhancing them, and we understand the physical and the mental part of it is very important.
While the 194th is focusing on the current armor, cavalry, and mechanic training, they're also looking to the future of their training, and they believe that future is actually in getting back to the basics.
Drag it all the way down. All right.
We're still at war, and we've been doing a lot of boots on the ground stuff and counterinsurgency operations, and so we're looking at how we're doing our program of instruction. The other things we're looking at is the operational environment changes, and for basic training, AIT, and for OSIT. So we're kind of go back to the fundamentals of what we're doing, and we're at a tipping point, I think, in the changes in the human dimension, all that kind of coming together.
The 194th Armored Brigade will continue to transform civilian volunteers into not only well-trained armor crewmen, cavalry scouts, and mechanics. Their impact on the Army as a whole will also be in building soldier athletes and incorporating the lessons learned from yesterday to create a soldier better prepared for tomorrow. Coming up next, digging holes and putting up antennas are all in a day's work for recon students.
Ever wonder about the smell of smoke and the sound of explosions on Fort Benning? If you do, we have your answers at Smoke and Sound on the Fort Benning homepage. There you can find an interactive sound map and schedule of the many armor exercises on post. And there's also a schedule of controlled burns, so the sound of the explosions and smell of smoke don't come as a surprise. That's Smoke and Sound at benning.army.mil.
Reconnaissance is a creative and artistic discipline that can take a lifetime to master. The leaders of recon units need to be able to think creatively and critically, and that's just what's taught at the Reconnaissance and Surveillance Leaders course. This may look like a below-average patch of forest, but what you may not see is the 6 to 8 man squad lurking beneath it, concealing themselves in order to execute their mission. The only course on Fort Benning that teaches how to make a phony forest is the renowned Reconnaissance and Surveillance Leader course.
The Reconnaissance Surveillance Leaders course, or RSLC as it's known throughout the force, is one of the premier reconnaissance leaders courses that is used throughout the Army to help combat leaders conduct reconnaissance in complex environments.
Okay, that radio. But they have a direct line with their 148. Please, he'll give you his criteria, all right? They'll probably finalize the plan.
In some complex environments, it's necessary for recon scouts to hide in order to conduct long-term reconnaissance. In order to execute, the situation can sometimes call for site construction and some digging.
The most important thing about learning site construction is making it the appropriate size so that it can be the most useful for the intents and purposes of reconnaissance and surveillance. If it's too small, then they're not going to have any room to move around inside the site or to relieve the person who is on the observation duties at the time.
Yeah, we just need to make that better.
And if you can't rotate out and you have a person in there for 3 hours trying to observe, they're going to lose that security and lose that situational awareness, and they're not going to be able to report correctly on what their mission is. I'm noticing that I'm walking across anything different.
After learning the fundamentals of concealment and camouflage, the students move on to the next step, how to communicate the information they've gathered.
Communications is the key to any mission or anything that we do. So with the students out here and learning how to use the Pacific radios to communicate long-range and short-range communications, it would help them better be effective to their command.
RSLC base is Stalker 7, radio check, over.
It's one of the most basic forms of long-range communications that doesn't rely on high technology such as satellites or relay stations. It's one of the best ways to use basic materials and radio transmissions to communicate around the globe.
Okay, yeah, I got that. 109.27. Got that.
105.20.
Got that.
102.0.
Yep.
30.
Yep.
40.
Yep.
80.
Yep. All right, yeah, we're good now.
The first week of RSLC, students see things like land navigation, proficiency jumps, and learning the fundamentals of reconnaissance, like communications, cohesion, and concealment.
They'll conduct planning at a team level so they know how to operate without a higher command, which will give them the resiliency to become better leaders.
The course's students, ranging from Rangers to Cav Scouts to Marines, will be physically and mentally exhausted during this entire 24-hour-a-day class. But this is only the first week of fundamentals, and they have a long way to go through airborne ops, urban ops, and much more before they earn the name Recon Scout.
Get out of there.
Nicole Randall, Fort Benning TV.
The Western Hemisphere Institute for Security Cooperation has played a vital role in the relationship with other nations. But you may not have known is that WINSEC has a non-commissioned officer academy with a diverse and unique mission. Sarah Tate reports.
They're from different armies and different cultures,
Mantenga control.
but they have one thing in common:
Touch. Lo tocaron.
leading soldiers.
Avanza.
Senior enlisted NCOs from countries such as Jamaica, Brazil, and Colombia make up the cadre of the WINSEC's Master Sergeant Roy Benavides NCO Academy, training hundreds of law enforcement and troops from across the Western Hemisphere. The foreign instructors are assigned to WINSEC as a regular tour of duty. Their mission is to learn the ways of the U.S. Army's non-commissioned officer.
The NCOs are the backbone of the Army. And I've learned, not that I've not learned from my military, I've learned, but it has been reinforced a lot about being an NCO and being proud to be an NCO and working. So that I like that emphasis that is placed here.
Being the only institution of its kind in the U.S. Army, the Benavides NCO Academy teaches an 8-week course developed for Sergeant First Class or Platoon Sergeant level leaders, with a focus on leader development. Having these seasoned senior NCOs lead and teach, they not only learn Army doctrine, but they also bring years of their own experience and knowledge to share.
They bring the experience from their own wars, such as Colombia. They're fighting the guerrilla, FARC. And it's awesome. It's amazing how much experience they bring to the table, and they share it not only with us as peer instructors, also with the students.
There's a lot to offer in terms of leadership to our NCOs, and believe me, it has the leadership skills that I've learned here has helped me back in Jamaica and other NCOs from the Jamaican Army.
This mission not only gives the U.S. the ability to strengthen our ties with our allies, but a unique development tool for these senior NCOs.
To learn from different countries, different army, different techniques, and they use in Brazil and they use here, and to show to my army the different techniques I learned here in the United States.
The Benavides NCO Academy will also conduct a course for Master Sergeants and Sergeants Major, focusing on leadership, national studies, and operations within the profession of arms framework.
Se aproxima un pasillo, zona de peligro.
Sarah Tate, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, how to facilitate a conference that can decide future policies.
This yellow one is for my postpartum depression. This one, sciatica, whatever that is. I got these after my hysterectomy, or my prostatectomy, stomectomy. And this guy is for the pain from my last hip replacement. And this orange one is gotta go.
For teens, getting drugs can be as easy as opening your medicine cabinet.
Every community has concerns they'd like to resolve, and that's no different at Fort Benning. Melissa Bell takes us inside the Army Family Action Plan and shows us what it's like to solve Fort Benning's top issues.
The AFAP conference is an Army-wide initiative that improves the quality of life for soldiers and families on post by offering them a forum to address concerns and present recommended solutions. But this important process doesn't work without its volunteers, like one of this year's facilitators, Bethany Buck.
Which results in excessive and high amounts of out-of-pocket expenses. It's been a long process, I would say. It's been a little frustrating at moments, and then in other moments it's been great because we have succeeded as a group and finally accomplished getting 2 issues to finally go through.
While working on medical and dental issues in this group, the AFAP conference discusses a variety of topics like force support, family support, or even when a stop sign is needed and where. But the piece Bethany likes most is knowing that these recommendations from her group could make a lasting impact on so many with the same frustrations.
All I'm asking for is my family to be taken care of because I served my time in the United States military service.
We discussed many of our topics the past couple days that have been only Fort Benning wide, but that have also a meaning that can go Army wide, as well as a few of them that could go up to DoD, because Department of Defense will cover all of the military services or branches. That's a great feeling to know that we're trying to help everyone.
This passion for helping others is what Bethany brings to the conference, knowing also that the information she learns from this forum only helps her aid others even more in the future.
Then you make the essential dental care is necessity as your first sentence.
Very good.
I enjoy it. I think that every volunteer that has helped with this conference will tell you that they feel that you're doing such a benefit to everyone within the Army and their family. So to me, this is just an opportunity to help and say thank you to them, because I would say for every soldier that's out there, they're going to be affected one way or the other, whether it's when they retire or whether it's right now while they're on active duty.
For a list of issues from this year's AFAP conference, check out the November 6th issue of Bayonet and Saber. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, football and keg tosses.
The Armed Services Blood Program gets your blood to those who need it most. To find a donor center near you, visit militaryblood.dod.mil.
The energy was pumping at the 4th Annual Doughboy Bowl, with soldiers, family, and the Columbus State University community out to support their teams. Melissa Bell brings us the energy of the stadium as she reveals the strategy of the 2013 Bowl champions.
The fans were out in force as the Columbus State Cougars took on the Fort Benning Doughboys at the 4th Annual Doughboy Bowl. And to win a game of this magnitude takes a whole lot of planning and an abundance of strategy.
Hey, 1-3, 1-3.
CSU was good. I knew their quarterback was extremely good. He proved it tonight. I mean, he was probably the best quarterback we've played all year.
Which is why these Doughboy players came out looking to score while never giving an inch.
You know, our main thing against them was we didn't want to get beat over the top. We wanted to make them earn everything. And they had a lot of breaks. I thought we sputtered on offense, especially in the first half. We could have really put the nail in the coffin early, but you know, CSU fought back in, jumps up, and gets back on top of us. And it was a battle the whole game until the end.
This matchup kept fans on the edge of their seats, with the Doughboys up with as little as a 3-point lead as they fought for yards.
The boys behind me have been cheering their heads off all night. It's great atmosphere, great group of guys. They've been playing their hardest, so we're just so happy about it.
Because for these soldiers, a football game in the midst of fall is just what these men in uniform enjoy. And getting to rub shoulders with the commanding general, even better.
Football games are really a great experience. They allow the soldiers in training to kind of unwind a little bit, get a little stress off, take a break from training really, and take a step back and enjoy some of the things we did before we came to training.
Like watching halftime shows with the Shaw High School Band and CSU cheerleaders.
It almost makes you feel like you're back home. And while that doesn't ever detract from the training experience, you're always just really excited to come out. You're really excited to support the teams, and we just have a fantastic time coming out here and doing it.
In the end, the Doughboys hammered down on CSU, pulling ahead late in the third quarter and finishing strong in the fourth, with a final score of Doughboys 42, CSU Cougars 31. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Guten Tag, meine Freunde. Germany felt a lot closer during Fort Benning's Oktoberfest celebration, hosted by MWR, where music, games, food, and drink were the order of the day.
Thousands visited Uchi Creek Campground for the annual Oktoberfest celebration. The weather was perfect, allowing soldiers and families to enjoy the festivities. With plenty of activities for children, the focus to ensure a family-friendly event was clear. From close encounters in the petting zoo, to picking your own pumpkin, or climbing the rock wall, kids of all ages had plenty to enjoy.
These are Lederhosen.
We're from Germany. And I used to have a red one, but now I got a green one. Since the red one is too small.
Oktoberfest is a celebration of German culture, and that means music, food, and drink. Vendors were on hand to ensure none were in short supply.
Well, I thought I'd come out here and lead the Gutmann Sauerkraut Band. We have a 6-piece band in there, and we were pumping last night, and we're going to be pumping this afternoon. I woke up thinking accordion, and I've been playing it since I was 13. And we play everything from Alabama up to Virginia, but we always look forward to the trip to Fort Benning.
In addition to the games, activities, and hay rides, there are also plenty for the four-legged members of the family.
Today we're participating in the dog costume contest for best dog costume. We're going to be doing the animal farm, and we're going to be getting some funnel cakes and some schnitzel. And today I just dressed up. I thought it would be fun, be neat.
And no Oktoberfest would be complete without a healthy keg tossing competition.
New record! Oktoberfest is wunderbar, wunderbar.
David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
I heard that the winning keg toss was 27 feet. That's an awful long way to toss 25 pounds of metal.
And as usual, MWR did a great job. I heard there was quite the turnout.
I don't know about you, but next year I'm entering that keg tossing competition.
Right. I think you'd better stay with the Stein hoisting competition.
And that will bring this edition of the Benning Report to an end.
But you can watch these stories and others on youtube.com/BenningTV or at benning.army.mil.
You can also like and friend us on Facebook.
From the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching.